your city crew. Say again, bright lights, big city. Bright lights, big city. New York, big city of dreams.
I'm coming straight out.
New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.
We are back with the snaps. I feel poetic today.
Yeah.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from Knick Of Time Show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And this is not gonna be a regular episode today. It's gonna be some fun stuff. Yes,
sir.
we're gonna talk Knicks, but we're gonna talk hope today.
Yes.
All right. And we have someone here to help us talk hope. But before I introduce him, we have the reliable. The handsome, maybe, some might say. I don't know. What do you think? Yes. She says yes. The guy with the stats and the facts?
Ryan G in the building.
Cool. And we also have a guest today. This guy's played AAU ball.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. He's a contributor. He was a contributor to Stock Rises. There's a blog that talked about high school basketball. And he also has his own blog called Jake in the Paint, where he writes a lot about college ball. And also he did some pods last season too. The one, the only, the magnificent Jake Rosen.
Hey, appreciate you guys for having me on. I've never had that played AAU in my resume before, so that's definitely a first. And we talked before the show. I love that part of my resume, I guess you would call it. So once again, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm here to talk. I'm happy to talk Knicks, drafts, and everything in between. So let's get this thing going.
Hell yeah, let's get this game
Yes,
going.
sir.
Man.
Let's go.
You gotta shout that out, man. Not everybody plays ball like that. You gotta let them know. It's my stock.
Exactly.
Maybe I should have that in my intros, like because I've played church basketball for my church league. So maybe next time when I do my intro, Jay Ellis, church basketball bench player.
Exactly.
I support that. I support it.
Yes.
All right.
I play intramurals.
Intramural, yeah, right. 6 man in Huddy Junior High School.
Exactly.
All right. Let me keep pushing. All right. So before we get into the draft talk, we definitely gonna talk about the draft because we need some hope out there today. We need to think about the future. But before we talk about that, we're going to talk a little bit about the Knicks stuff. And we're going to stay on the positive note. And we're just going to talk about the player of the week this week.
Yes, sir.
And the player of the week this week is none other than
Money, make it Mitch.
Mitchell Robinson. God damn it, man.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. I see stats and the facts, man. You pulling out the phone. You got the stats ready?
Yes. So this week, Mitch Robinson has averaged 12.8 points a game.
Oh.
10.5 rebounds a game.
Oh, get him.
3.3 blocks a game.
Oh, get him.
1.3 steals a game.
Ooh.
And he shot a magnificent 74% from the field.
Mitch killing this week, and also he just got a career high versus Chicago with 23 points. I think it's 10 rebounds.
Yeah, Terry double-double.
And actually had 2 assists too. There was also a nice little pass to Knox. It was like an over-the-top pass. It was a nice little touch right in the pocket. I'm like, yo, does Mitch have some secret passing chops that we don't know about? It just seems like there's something there. I also saw a little drop step from Mitch. I also noticed that the picks, he's setting stronger picks more often. He's still not perfect.
Better.
But he's getting better. He's definitely getting better. So kudos to Mitchell having a great week.
Yo.
And I would be remiss if I did not mention that Mitchell Robinson is on pace to have the highest shooting percentage in the NBA ever.
Damn, ever.
Gotta mention that. I think who is currently, let me see. Currently, I think Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah, Wilt Chamberlain is the current leader. I think he's shooting somewhere like 74% or something like that.
What, Wilt?
Mm-hmm. Wilt Chamberlain.
I mean, that's no surprise, though.
Yeah. And Mitchell Robinson is on pace to beat that. If he stays on his current pace, he will have the highest percentage in the NBA. So shout out to Mitch. Hopefully he keeps that going. For one, I want Mitch to shoot like jumpers.
Yeah.
But now that he's on pace to have the best shooting percentage in the NBA, I kind of want to, you know what? Let's wait till.
Yeah, I mean, he got time.
He got time. He got time. We can wait now.
Yeah.
Get the record first. Yeah. All right. Cool. So cool. All right.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mitch Robinson, showed some growth. Player of the week this week. Also, Knicks news: Leon Rose is supposed to start today, which is a Sunday. I haven't heard anything official yet, but there's been a lot of news going on in Knicks land. There's been rumors that said that he might have the kids play even more than what they've been playing before.
Yeah, that's a major issue.
That's
because I have a question though.
Okay.
Because I just want to make sure like there's not anything going on that I'm not aware of. But like for example, Dotson. Is he hurt or
He hates him. He hates him. If that's
because I don't get it because I'm like, yo, he's had like 3 straight DMPs. I don't understand it because I'm like, yo, if you look at the young players on the Knicks, right? Like the guys that you would say, you know, you definitely got to play is RJ.
facts.
Mitch.
Major facts.
Because those are the two that's been the most consistent.
Yeah, those are building blocks.
Yeah, and there's another guy where a lot of Knicks fans will probably argue with me about, but I feel like Frank deserves consistent minutes as well because...
I mean...
because he may not have the offensive statistics to back up, you know, his impact on the court, but like most of the times I see him play, it's always a positive impact he makes whenever he's in the game.
I kind of wonder, because, you know, he's only averaging like around 15 minutes, 17 minutes a game. I wonder if the grind has something to do with it. You know what I mean? I wonder if there's like a little minutes restriction. Because even when he's playing well, I'm just like, oh, maybe he should play a little bit more. And he's taking out the game. I was like, maybe it's like a grind management thing, man.
Yeah.
I feel like he should get surgery. I don't know. But
Well, we'll see. We'll see in the off season what happens.
But the bigger issue is Dotson not getting any burn, and he's been the most consistent Knick
Exactly.
on the squad, and he was on fire. I felt like he was on fire.
Yeah.
He was hitting threes left and right, got sick for a day, and then like he lost his job on his day off, Craig. It was like, what the hell happened? It's like, why is he not in the lineup? He's like, oh, I'm better now. It's like, ooh, nah, you know what? Wayne Ellington.
Yeah.
Let's go with him. Like, Wayne Ellington is 30. Why are we developing Wayne Ellington?
I'm like, yo, Dotson can do everything Wayne Ellington can do, plus play defense.
Plus play defense. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to spit on you like Steve.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. And even we can even say, listen, Alonzo Trier had a breakout game this week. So even if you're like, I'm not feeling Dotson, Trier just had a game versus the Charlotte Hornets where it's like, okay, he's back. Play him too. Who did Trier kill?
I don't understand it, man. And to me, it's like, okay, you finally bring Trier off the bench and you put him in the game. You're like, okay, just go out there and play, and then he performs.
Facts.
He scores 15 points. He scores 15 against Charlotte.
Word. In like 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Then the next game he scores only 6 points, but he was pretty efficient off those 6 points. I think he shot 3 of 7, I believe.
Yeah,
which is not bad.
And he's also. The knock on him was he doesn't pass the ball. He's been passing like he even though people weren't hitting the shots, he's been setting people up for some nice passes. So
yeah,
what's the problem, coach?
So it's like, okay, so you haven't performed pretty well for 2 games, and all of a sudden you bench him again. I'm like, how do you expect the guy to gain confidence if he's gonna perform for 2 games and you go just bench him again?
Well, I'll say this about Trier: Trier will never lose confidence ever. Like, that is not a concern with me.
True that.
I feel like he came out like his mom, with a swag, like with his head up, like, yo, what up? Like, I don't think he even cried. He was just like the head nod, what's up, doc? And it's like he came out confident. Nothing can break ISO's confidence, but it's just like I just want more, and I like Mike Miller, but I just want more.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, we've monopolized the conversation. I know you're here for the draft and that breakdown, but do you have anything to say about that, Jake?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys covered all the Knicks stuff. I had a quick little anecdote about Alonzo Trier. He played high school ball around like probably 15, 20 minutes from my house. So when I was younger, before he went to Finley Prep out in Nevada, he was at Montrose Christian. I saw him play, and
Nice.
he was so cold, like so cold. I mean, in terms of the Knicks, you guys hit on it. Like, he doesn't seem like he passes ever. You can kind of see his teammates like reciprocating that feeling on the court. I mean, obviously you can't read into the locker room stuff, but if there's one thing Trier can do, it's get buckets, and he's been doing that his entire life. So I just felt like I share that.
No, that's true, but it's just like if you're gonna bench Lonzo Trier for not passing at this point, you should then also bench Bobby Portis, Julius Randle,
And Julius Randle.
and everybody else who don't pass. It's like,
Yeah.
let's keep it consistent, guys. Can we do that?
Yeah.
And I like Mike Miller,
Yeah, I like him too.
but these last 4 games is making it it's rough in these streets, Ryan.
Yeah, it really is.
It's rough in these streets, Ryan, because these last 4 games, people's like, "Oh, Jay Ellis, you a big Mike Miller fan?" Because I do the post game live show. I'm live with people. They're like, "Yo, you Mike Miller fan? What's up? You still like him?" I was like, I can't like him for more than 20 games and then completely disown him after 4 games where I'm just like, I don't like what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I'm holding out hope that he sees the light or Leon Rose kind of turns him around.
I'm not having any hope for that because I feel like when Leon Rose comes in, he's changing up things, and I feel like Nick's gonna maybe have like a whole new coaching staff next season.
Well, you know what? Segue, nice. I like you kind of segued into something else perfectly. Bomb. News. Leon Rose is about to start today, right? I haven't heard any press conference. I don't know. There might be a press conference by the time this episode airs. Who knows? But news came out that said several people briefed on the matter said Rose will take some time to evaluate existing Knicks staff before making any decisions on who to keep and who to let go from the current regime, which means Miller could possibly stay, probably not in the head coaching role, but he could possibly stay. Ninja P might escape firing again.
Maybe.
Ninja P, aka Scott Perry, for people who don't know who Ninja P is. And maybe some of these assistants, they still might be here. So who knows? I think it's the correct way to do it. Just kind of evaluate what's going on. Don't just go in here, Trump style, you're fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because you're a new guy. So
yeah,
you probably need to know some information before you start just making major changes.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe that even if he decides that Mike Miller's not the right guy to coach the Knicks, I feel like he should at least keep him in the G League, because when he was with the G League team, like the G League was performing well and players were developing under him. So I feel like even if he's not the head coach of the Knicks should still keep him and at least, put him either as an assistant coach or you move him back to the G League where he was having success with the young guys there.
I feel you. And you know what? There were rumblings that said that the Knicks do want to keep him in the organization and at some capacity.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that happens. I don't think he's done enough to get a head coaching job somewhere else. But who knows what will happen in his future because of what he did with the Knicks. He's actually obviously done a better job than Fizdale ever has.
Obviously.
Like, he's actually, if you listen to last week's episode, I implore you to listen to last week's episode, because we had a guest over here who broke down the Knicks offense. He obviously tweaked the offense, so even guys who aren't ISO-heavy initiators can function, like Frank, and it's worked out. It's worked out for the most part. It's not working out right now that we traded Marcus Morris, but,
Yeah.
it worked out.
Yeah.
All right. I know you guys are waiting for this. We got the Knicks talk out of the way.
Yeah.
Now it's time to talk about the draft, man. Let's get into this draft talk with Jake, man. Now,
Sounds good.
yeah, man. Now I'm gonna start off. I was like, I'm gonna start off this conversation smoothly. So I'm gonna start off reading something that Jake wrote. Just the header. In I think it was November. I think you wrote like a preseason draft. Yeah, I'm gonna write that, and then
I haven't revisited that in a while, so I'll be curious to see where you go with this.
Okay, cool. This is a nice little setup in the combo, guys. So here's what you wrote. All right, it says, after grinding high school, AAU, and FIBA tape since June 21st, I finally compiled my preseason big board. This draft is extremely flat. After the top end talent, and there's probably 60 guys that can end up in the 10 to 30 range. Because of that, there's no real consensus, which made the big board process even more fun. I look forward to all their banter, and remember, this is definitely subject to change.
Yeah. I'd stand by the last part the most out of everything I said.
Yeah.
Subject to change? Yes.
Yeah, it was definitely subject to change.
Definitely subject to change. 'Cause I did peek at that, and I was like, I think you had Anthony Edwards 1,
Yeah.
Cole Anthony 2, and I can't remember everything else under that.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think I had Denny of Diaz 3 after that.
Right.
So that he's 3 right now, and Ant is still number 1. Obviously, Cole has dropped a little bit, but we'll talk. I wrote some notes on all these guys, so we'll get into all of them.
All right,
Cool. So, okay, what should I start, Ryan? Should I ask him who was your top guys, or should I ask him who's the top guys for the Knicks?
Matter of fact, since this is a Knicks podcast, I need to ask him, like, who does he believe the Knicks should look at this upcoming draft?
So, I mean, basically, when you're looking at it through the Knicks perspective, people have all different philosophies on the draft, whether if there's a certain range where you should just give up fit and go best player available. I mean,
Facts.
we saw the Cavs do that last year.
Mm-hmm.
They thought Darius Garland was their guy. They didn't care. They had Colin Sexton. I mean, I wouldn't have taken Darius Garland there, but that was clearly their philosophy, and they took him. So, I mean, I think if you look at the Knicks roster right now, I'm not sure how you guys feel about the kids, but I don't think we really have anyone other than a center because, like, I'm really against taking centers in the top of the draft, especially when you already have a pretty good one.
Oh yeah.
And unless it's obviously like your Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, like those outlier guys.
Pause 1
Yeah.
second. I'm sorry. I have to address something before you get into your spiel. I'm sorry. Somebody was on the show and he compared Wiseman.
Oh my God. Okay, go. I already don't like where this is going.
I knew you wouldn't, which is why I had to pause and ask you this just to Anthony Davis. And he looked me in the face and said, yo, this guy next Anthony Davis. And I was sitting here like, I haven't heard that exact sentiment. I've heard there's a lot of things wrong with that. Do you agree with that or not?
So, well, actually, let's start off on James Wiseman, because that's basically who I was subtweeting in my philosophy question, why take another center when you have Mitchell Robinson?
Bars, subtweets.
So basically, in terms of Wiseman, he's probably the most misunderstood prospect in terms of consensus versus the dudes that cover the draft on a day-to-day basis and watch film every day and, like, don't just watch highlights. So I don't know who you guys had on your show who said that, but I would probably implore him to watch any of Wiseman's full games in high school because I watched about like 6 or 7 of them before the season this year when I landed on him as like my 9th prospect, I think, in that preseason board.
Damn.
Obviously, he's been suspended, so he hasn't really done much to move or go down either way.
Mm-hmm.
But basically in those games, you saw a 7-foot freak of nature, physically, like measurement-wise, where he's 7'1", long arms, him running in a straight line is pretty mesmerizing to watch for a guy at that size. But when you get outside the straight line, the lateral movement, covering pick and rolls, sliding with guys on the perimeter horizontally, like really slow load time. You look at if you've seen Onyeka Okongwu this year, like he's a shorter center, but he is like that pop, like he gets off the ground instantly. So the thing with Wiseman, like yes, he has an unreal physical tools, but if you watch quicker guards against him, they'll kind of use some quick floaters or just scoop shots to kind of throw him off his timing because he's not exactly the quickest leaper. So while he has those tools, that's where he kind of struggles on the defensive end. And then the offensive end is kind of just a disaster all over the place.
Whoa, disaster.
Damn.
I'm trying to be nice, but he dunks a lot. I'll give him that. Like he finishes plays, he can get up there, even though his hands aren't great. Like he even dropped a couple lobs, contested finishes in the games that I watched. But like the main issue is that he kind of just doesn't really know where he is at this stage. Like Anthony Davis, kind of what he just started like recently a couple of years ago, handling the ball on the perimeter, creating, and even then that's still like out of this world that a 7-footer can do that. And Anthony Davis, that took him years and years in the league.
Yeah.
Wiseman is basically, he's catching the ball at the perimeter. He's squaring up like he's Damian Lillard and taking a step back. And it's just like completely head scratching. He gets bumped off his spots really, really easily for a guy of that size.
Yikes.
The shot isn't horrible. Like it's not. He definitely has some good makes. The mechanics aren't broken for a guy his size. He's not a great free throw shooter, so I'm not overly optimistic. But if he does make it in the NBA, like as an offensive player, I think he's going to have to shoot it. Now, that's not a bet that I'm willing to make, but I know dudes that are still in on him somewhat think that, you know what, he'll come around and the defensive feel will come around. So he might be able to mitigate that like long load time and lack of understanding, the slow hips, all that stuff. And then on offense, he's going to be able to roll to the rim and shoot threes. I don't see it. I don't see it. I have him right in the back end of my lottery just because of those tools. That's kind of the only thing left. But I mean, if you watch some of these, like he had one game, basically his metrics, every time I do like a spreadsheet of metrics, he just pops off the table because he played like 2 games against low Division I. I don't even know if they're Division I opponents, and he just dominated them.
Damn.
Like, there's no point even watching it. It's like him playing a high school team.
Yeah.
They were probably worse than the high school teams that I watched him play against last year. Like, I'll play that.
It's like me playing my nephews.
But the one game that he actually did play against like high level competition before the whole scandal thing happened was they played against Oregon, and Wiseman, he basically sat out the entire first half because he picked up 2 quick fouls. But even when he did get in the flow of things in the second half, you still, like, those ugly kind of habits and misconception of who he is, like, reared its ugly head again. Because, I mean, he was taking step back mid-ranges, like, had clear lanes to just bully people into the rim and is taking fadeaway floaters. So, I mean, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but as far as Wiseman goes, about as far on the other end of the spectrum as Anthony Davis. So that's all.
I mean,
wow.
I mean, when I did research on Wiseman, like I did like read a lot of the stuff that you said, like, you know, like defensively he's slow with lateral movements and like his hips are slow and things like that. And also offensively, like he does fall in love with the jumper way more often than he should with his, you know, tools and everything. So here's a fun question. So since the guy who was on our podcast a few weeks ago said that he's like similar to Anthony Davis, is there any player comparison you have for James Wiseman in the NBA right now?
Oh, I mean, man, you guys put me on the spot. I'm horrible at NBA comps. And I kinda
all right, that's fine. Know your strengths, King. Know your strengths.
I mean, this is kind of where I would say is like the hard thing with comps. Like, they're ESPN aired. Like, credit to ESPN. Like, they do amazing draft coverage. The Draft Express guys over there, unreal. But like last year, they were covering the draft, and they had like Chauncey Billups, and like I wrote a winners and losers column, and I mean, I have nothing but respect for Mr. Big Shot, but like he actually made it in the winners and losers column.
Damn.
Because like he got up there and like he compared Rui Hachimura to Kawhi Leonard, and like
wow,
it's just unfair to the kids, man. Like that's just like we're talking about a top 2 or 1, depending on who you ask and what time of the year player in the NBA. And like Rui, I had him in the 20s. He got drafted at 9, which I thought was a reach, but like. Even how often do number 9 picks turn into all NBA talent? So like when you're talking about NBA comps, like the realistic ones are the medium outcomes. We're talking about like 6th and 7th men, like the realistic ones. But people don't want to hear that, so then we go out and throw their star outcome. Like, I mean, I can't tell you one for Wiseman because like I'm just so bad at comps and I don't want to say the wrong guy because then that misleads you in one way or another. But I would just say like everything. I mean, everything I said, everything like stuff you read, depending upon where you read it, is true. I mean, I think there's a good amount of people that know who he really is as a prospect, and then there's still some of those people that are just relying on YouTube clips and just that consensus recruiting ranking. Right? When he was the number 1 prospect, which I didn't agree with at the time, I don't agree with it now, and that's kind of what's carrying him still at the moment.
Okay, so I guess we can leave the Wiseman guy.
Yeah.
Woo! This guy unloaded. And I kind of expected it. I kind of expected it though. I expected it. But to hear somebody who really knows it, like get into the bitter details of it, makes it even more like woo. Like, why is he even top 10 the way you're talking? Maybe he should. It just sounds like it's strictly athletic based and nothing about the polish of his game. That's what it's just potential.
Yeah, I mean, and it's even we don't need to dive back into him, but I would just leave like the listeners, if you haven't seen him with this, like it's like measurements based at this point, because if you watch him as an athlete, I mean, look, if the dude ran a 40-yard dash, you'd be like, oh my God, this guy has to be a number 1 pick. Just once again, like him running end to end, like I will give him that. He's incredible at that. And like he had a clip I saw in high school. He challenged a shot, then straight line sprint, and had a putback dunk. And like I was like, damn, like this is what people see. But it's again like the other stuff is just way more frequent. So it's hard for me to buy. I'll leave it at that.
All right,
cool. So back to the other question about the Knicks and who they should have their eye on in the draft. I guess you know what's. Should we go number 1 to 5 or 5 to 1, or how do you feel like you want to do this? What's the easiest way?
I feel like the people want to hear the big names first, so we can go 1 to 5.
All right, cool.
All right.
Big name. Let's go. The first guy the Knicks should go after in this draft is.
In my opinion, it's Anthony Edwards. Shooting guard, combo guard, wing, whatever you want to call him. Freak athlete from Georgia. He just. Look, no one in this draft has been consistent. That's why it's getting all the hate it is as an overall class. So when we're just talking about flashes, Anthony Edwards has the best flashes out of anyone in the class, and it's not really even close to me. 6'5", 225, definition of a power athlete. Like if you look this kid up, his build is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, he looks the part of a linebacker, and when he's moving and he gets downhill, he's virtually unstoppable. Now the problem is. It's not really a problem, but I've been calling it a double-edged sword, and I think that's the only way to describe it. He has a wicked pull-up jumper. Like, if you watch him, he can get into it from anywhere, at any spot. He has step-backs, he has side-steps, he has crossovers. I mean, whatever. He has the complete bag. Like, He has the entire bag. But the counter to that is he falls in love with his bag too much and just settles for way too many contested twos or even pull-up threes. Like, I'm a big fan of the pull-up three. I think it opens up a ton of things on the basketball court, whether you make it or not. Obviously, it helps to be at a high clip. But, like, you look at Damian Lillard right now, and look, I'm not saying that Anthony Edwards is going to be Damian Lillard, but that just gives you an idea of what the pull-up three can do, or just having a pull-up threat. A better, maybe like Devontae Graham at times. Like, he just completely opened up the floor. And he has that potential. Like, some of his pull-up flashes are absolutely incredible, but he's just not getting to the rim enough for a guy that's 6'5", 225. Like, and this is the $1 million question that I'm kind of leaning one way towards, but I'm not completely sure. Is it that he can't get to the rim or that he won't get to the rim? Because if he won't get to the rim, then the coaching staff can get to him. I mean, we've seen Jason Tatum, they said, hey, stop taking mid-ranges. Either get to the rim or take a three. I mean, and look what he's doing right now, just by changing his shot selection. If Ant can do that, like if Ant goes, and look, he's a great mid-range pull-up shooter. You never want to take that out of his game, but if you want to distribute more of those to rim attempts and three-point attempts, that's just more, it's simple math. It's more efficient. So if it's that he won't get to the rim, I think he's hands down the best part, like the best prospect in the class, just because of what he can become as a scorer defensively when he's locked in, which isn't often because, again, he kind of has that up and down motor. When he's locked in, he can make some really good plays. And it's the same thing with his passing. When he's locked in, he makes good reads. He knows how to leverage his scoring gravity, makes his teammates better. But it's tough because you just don't see it every night with him. You can get great Ant, you can get bad Ant. So, it's just a tough pill to swallow when you're picking at number one. But then you kind of just have to look up and down everywhere else and say, hey, are we really getting a better option by going this other route? That's what I'll leave you with. Like,
okay.
I'll say that. I also do want to mention Lamelo Ball, though. What are you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts on Lamelo Ball and what you've seen?
Wait, hell. Before we even get to Lamelo Ball, before we get to that, I just want to ask you a question about Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I didn't want to rush anything. He was my second guy.
Okay. Okay. With Anthony Edwards, once Anthony Edwards does go to the rim, is he able to finish with a decent consistency? Do you know?
Like, his touch, I can't really tell because he settles for so much contested stuff. Like,
Okay.
he just, when he gets like, I'm sure you guys have seen like some of these power dunks. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'll say is like he has the chance to be like an above the rim athlete. Like,
Okay.
some of his finishes are just like he'll put it on your head with no regard. I think like I don't have finishing concerns with him. Like, there's one person that I have legit finishing concerns with. A couple people actually that I'll talk about later because they're in this range. But with Ant, I really don't think so because, I mean, there's just a threshold of touch required to knock down the difficult shots that he knocks down, and he gets there. Some of these pull-up threes, fading away mid-ranges, like that requires some elite touch. It's not fluke shot making, so he does have that touch. He's not like a big, like I would say like floaters. He's not a big floater guy. That's an easy way to kind of tell if a guy's touch around the basket or not.
Okay.
But look, he's shooting 77% from the free throw line. He's a good free throw shooter.
Oh, that's encouraging. Okay.
You can't really look at the raw shooting numbers. Like, yes, he's shooting 31% from three, but if you would adjust that back to guys that are taking as many pull-up attempts as him, he would be close to like the higher percentile just because the shots he's taking are so much more difficult. You feel me on what I'm saying there?
Yeah,
so I don't necessarily think that he would have finishing issues. I just want to see him get there and apply that pressure.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is if his shot selection was better, that 31% would just be so much higher. But just because he's taking so many pull-up threes, it's affected his shooting percentage from that range.
Yep. I mean, 100%. Basketball is context. You can't look at one number is not going to tell you the story, and multiple numbers aren't going to tell you the story. Like, I'd rather have Anthony Edwards shooting 31% than some other guy shooting all spot ups at 36%. Like,
I see what you're saying.
That's the give or take.
Okay, so what is so if he's in the league, he's on the Knicks, do you definitely feel like he'll be a starter or do you think he's like what would his role be in the league? Is he like the off the bench scorer guy?
I mean, so ideally if you're picking number one or in the top three where he's going to go, you want a star. That's when you're taking at that draft spot, you want star equity. This is why he's at number one. I believe he has the most star equity if he puts everything together.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't want to hear this, and it's the sad truth that I've probably come to imagine that the Knicks are not an ideal landing spot for him personally, just because like
the way it's built,
he needs to be put in a more competitive threshold. Like, I don't know where you get that towards the top of the draft. It's tough, but he's a guy, he needs to be held more accountable on the defensive end. He needs to be held more accountable on the shot selection and just push towards that upper gear that he can get to. If he goes to the Knicks and we're just going to roll the ball out, let him shoot 20 shots a game or 15 shots a game and go 40% from the field, he'll have some exciting plays, he'll have some breakout games, but is that really the best version of him? So like,
this is true.
With the Knicks, if I'm the Knicks, I am taking him at number one. But if you're asking me what Anthony Edwards looks like in the league, I think he has a better career path if he doesn't end up in New York, sadly.
It depends on the coaches as well, because we don't know.
Yep.
We don't know what coach is going to be here. We don't and I don't know. Even with the coaching staff we have here, I feel like the coaching staff we have here they have more of a leash on the younger players than the veterans. Like I feel like they let the veterans get away with murder, and then when the younger guys take a bad shot or do a bad rotation, they kind of have a shorter leash on them in general. But whoever's here right now might not.
The other way around. It should be the other way around.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have a question though. So, say for example, the Knicks do draft Anthony Edwards. Do you see a potential clash between him and RJ Barrett since they play in similar positions?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, look, positionless basketball is like at an all-time high in the league right now. But you definitely do see a clash because those are two ball dominant players who aren't necessarily gonna they're not heavy playmakers.
Yeah.
So if we already have those two on the court together, they both need the ball in their hands a lot. This is maybe just a sidetrack. Like RJ Barrett in high school, he played on a loaded high school team, so maybe it was easier for him to do this then. But like he was a little bit of like a Swiss Army knife at times.
Yeah.
Like, they had a bunch of other really good guards, so he would be a good cutter, curling him off ball action. Like if he becomes a good spot up 3-point shooter, like that would be huge for him. I don't know if like having the ball in his hands, creating for RJ all the time is how we get the best version of him, but time will tell. But no, you do bring up a good point. Like if Anthony Edwards and RJ are that's our number 3 pick from last year and our maybe top pick this year, if they're going to be on the court together and they're going to need the ball, and neither of them are big playmakers and neither of them are going to initiate for others, then does that really lead to a successful offense? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But at that point, like we talked about, you just have to go best player available. And for me, Ant's the guy.
Yeah. Damn, that's rough, man. Because at that point,
It's
I kind of
tough.
feel
It
like
is tough, man.
you
It
gotta
is tough.
down the line. If it doesn't work, you gotta make a move. Otherwise, you just kind of end up with a Garland Sexton situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I mean, I told you guys at the beginning, like it's going to be a tough pill to swallow. It is. Like this is why I want to talk about Lamelo, because if we're talking about just general fit, he probably is a better fit for the Knicks.
Oh, my guy Ryan is smiling right at it. That boy.
Yeah, because I mean, to be honest about it, like at least my list per se, like I always I did view Lamelo Ball and Anthony Edwards as 1 and 2, but I picked Lamelo Ball over Anthony Edwards just for the simple fact that I felt like Lamelo Ball would be a more better fit for the Knicks than Anthony Edwards. So it's good to see that I'm kind of right here.
No, you're definitely on the right path.
And LaMelo is so polarizing as well because of, I don't know, it's the LeVar thing or the shooting thing, and we don't have shooting, and he can't shoot. But I feel like certain scouts have him as, some have him as 2, some are like, I don't even want to mess with him because his defense is bad or because he can't shoot, or like I don't know what it is, but. Break down your LaMelo Ball.
So we'll talk Lamelo.
Yeah.
So basically, I mean, my main bullet point is like, look, like this isn't just a hype because it's Lonzo's little brother, big baller brand. He went to Australia, like Slam was on his team's jersey. Like this kid's the real deal, like legit real deal. He's 6'7", I think. They haven't measured him in a while, but he's grown a ton since high school. He's gonna be a true lead guard, I think. He doesn't have a ton of pop in terms of like getting downhill and exploding to the basket. Like he'll kind of get walled off, especially in isolation attempts. Like there's one clip of him where he just goes like between his legs repeatedly like 8 times. That's a really bad attempt. I mean, people have watched it and they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So look, with everyone, no one's game film is perfect, but like some of the passes he makes, man, like I need to rewind that and watch it like 4 more times. Like at 6'7", his ability to not only like read but manipulate defenses with his handle at that height is wicked. Like he'll set people up in ball screens with creative dribbles. He has combos to shake his defenders. Once he gets in the lane, like he's pretty controlled with the ball, I would say. Like, but he's just like where he's at his best is just like deceiving the defense with his like eyes, with his floater gravity, just like with everything. He just makes some like the touch on his passes. I mean, you guys have seen he's been throwing full court baseball passes since he was a 14-year-old. Like he's still doing that now. Just like the touch on his lobs is crazy. Like it's off the charts, like through the roof. Like he is a real deal passer. I think he's the best passer in this class, and like this class is loaded with playmakers. You guys mentioned the shooting. The shooting is tough. Like it's definitely a tough pill to swallow. The percentages, he's 37% from the field and 25 from 3 on 6.7 3-pointer attempts per game. Not good. But what I'll say is when you take into account he basically couldn't hit a shot for the first like month of his season, whatever it is. I don't have the game log in front of me, but like it was brutal. The mechanics were kind of all over the place. You guys watch him, he kind of has that leg kick. His lower body mechanics are kind of off. Yeah. But as the season progressed, he got a lot better. Just that's going all the way across the world is not an easy thing. Playing it from a prep school league where I watched a ton of their games, they were just rolling the ball out there. Like Spire had some dudes, but they were just rolling the ball out there. To going to like organized, structured professional league with grown men, that's an adjustment. So it's not shocking that his shooting numbers kind of plummeted during the first month of that season. But as the season got on, not only did the numbers get better, but just the eye test of his mechanics got better. His lower body got a lot more balanced. He was jumping off 2, landing off 2, going straight up. I mean, especially on his pull-up jumpers, which is going to be a huge weapon because he has a ton of range. Like that's one thing he definitely has for sure is range and touch. And like when we're talking about Anthony Edwards and we're talking about shooting indicators, like LaMelo has all the indicators. His touch, I mean, he'll pull a floater from 15 feet away and it'll drop straight through the net. Like his touch on floaters and just little touch passes, he has every indicator in the book. So if you're a believer that touch equates to future shooting, like which I can buy that, and I know a lot of smart people on Twitter praise that, so I'm gonna go with them on that. And then you've got to believe that he's gonna be able to shoot it at some point.
Free throw shooting.
And even if he becomes a little bit above league average on his volume with his passing, that's really all you need him to be. We're not asking him to be a 40% three-point shooter. Like, we just need him to be league average, so that doesn't hurt his efficiency, because you're really getting sold on the passing. Like, the playmaking is incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
So how's his free throw shooting?
So his free throw shooting, let me pull up his numbers. I don't know if I have them right in front of me.
Okay.
I got it for you. So his free throw shooting is 72%. Not
Not
great,
bad.
but
Not great, but not.
it's fine. It's
Okay.
fine. I mean, nothing that jumps off the page that screams this guy's going to shoot it.
Right.
Like Killian Hayes, who we'll talk about later.
Killian!
But nothing detrimental, right? Like, he's not in the 60s. He's not.
Right.
His mechanics aren't broken, and they've come a long way. Like, look, we've talked about Lonzo revamping his shot. LaMelo had one of the ugliest shots I've ever seen as a freshman. Like, he literally would flare. I mean, you can look at pictures. He literally would flare his right elbow out and then shoot it. It was like a two motion, like, let me flare my elbow and then I'll flick it. I have no idea how it went in, but it did. So, like, just the fact that he's revamped that, he's gotten his leg kick under control for the most part. The elbow, there's still a flare, but it's so much less significant. That speaks to his work ethic.
Okay.
I think if you can just kind of keep that up, I think he'll shoot it. I really do. The defense is tough. Sometimes he gets caught. Like, I mean, that's the consensus. Look, that, like, a lot of these things are following him from his Chino Hills days and his Spire days, which I don't think is completely fair, because that dude had a leash longer than anyone I've ever seen before.
Okay.
But the counterpoint to that is, as ESPN's Mike Schmitz talks about all the time, is that's what made him who he was. The freedom he had allowed him to try new shit out every time and see what worked and see what didn't. And
so you think the
Yeah,
defensive knock on him is overrated?
So I think the defense is rough, and it definitely needs work. But we're still talking about a dude who's 6'7" with some good length and who's a really smart basketball player. So at some point, you're kind of just going to have to hope that once he puts a little bit more muscle on, because he's going to need to put some more muscle on.
Yeah, we know
really,
that.
Yeah, we know that.
yeah. So you got to hope that once he puts like a little bit more muscle on, he's just going to rely on his reads and become a solid team defender. I don't think he's going to be a great team defender, but if he can, with his offensive potential, if he can just be a serviceable neutral defender, that's going to be a win. And I think his roadmap to that is not going to be an on-ball stopper. It's just going to be, hey, I know the game 2 steps ahead of everyone else, and if I'm locked in, I can make some plays. So that's his roadmap. It's definitely gotten better, but again, everything you're reading, it's still not great on that end.
All right.
Yeah.
So number 2, pretty much because he's an elite playmaker. Possibly he can shoot later on in the league. Defense, you're hoping that can come around at some point and be decent. Definitely needs to do some push-ups.
Oh, one thing about push-ups and just full camera weight, one thing that is worth noting is that, like, when he doesn't get all the way to the rim, because I don't think he wants contact. Like, he has the ball in his hands all the time, and he's not really getting to the line that much. I think it was like 3.9 free throw attempts, which again, nothing eye-popping, like Tyrese Halliburton, who we'll talk about later, who was allergic to contact. But LaMelo, he kind of, and even when he does get fouled, he gets bumped off his spot so easily, or even when there's contact and the ref doesn't call it, it's tough for him to finish. So, like, in turn, he settles for too many floaters. Like, I love the floater in general. I think it's such a sweet shot. And LaMelo is one of the best at it, probably the best floater in this class.
Right.
So there's nothing more than seeing him drain a floater, but there are sometimes where I'm like, man, just attack his hip and get to the rim. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that mentality will come with when he gets more muscle, and he doesn't feel like he's getting bumped off his spots all the time. And where you can really feel like he can get up there, take the bump, and explode to the rim. So I think putting on weight will help him on both ends dramatically.
All right,
most definitely.
He's probably like, and we were just like, I was talking to a couple of people, and they're just like, look, you're 6'7", dude. Go over that screen and just try to play from behind and alter that shot and try to get back into the play. Like, you going under the screen and getting completely shielded isn't doing anything to help your defender. So if you guys want a real in-depth stuff, like, you know, have you guys heard of Spencer Perlman?
Oh, yeah. I know Spencer. You follow Spencer.
So he's a big big Knicks guy. He does a lot of stuff with John Makery and at the Knicks Film School. So
Yeah, he
writes
kind of
with
on the show
Steffi.
last year, kind of, sort of. I kind of interviewed him last
so-
year. Yeah.
Spencer's one of the best draft guys out there, hands down, and he watches more film than anyone I can even name off the top of my head. So he wrote a really detailed LaMelo explanation. If you guys are looking for anything else, he covers it in there. So that's what I would say. Just because I haven't watched him in a little bit, and I know Spencer will cover anything that I didn't have in.
Definitely
cool.
Steffian. Definitely check out the Steffian.
Yep,
Yeah.
for Steffi.
That's
All right, I got one more. I have one last question on LaMelo Ball. All right, so
Sounds good. Hit me with
yeah,
it.
so like how we were discussing Anthony Edwards, you said like sometimes his motor can be a bit iffy. Sometimes, like sometimes he's on it and sometimes he's off. What about LaMelo Ball's motor? Like, what do you think of his motor?
So, I mean, that was probably my biggest qualm with him, like watching him in high school and stuff, like at Spire, I would say. Because, like, if you watch a Spire game and, like, there are times where, like, literally the broadcast will be on defense and, like, LaMelo isn't in the broadcast screen because he's not back on defense. Like, the team will be, I'm not kidding. Like, the team will be in the half-court offense, like, running their stuff, and LaMelo is just not on the screen. And,
Damn.
like, he wasn't held accountable for that. And that was what it was. That was the situation, and that was the leash he had. Now, did some of that leash equate to his offensive genius? Yes, it did 100%. But the defensive lapses off the ball and just not being fully engaged is kind of what you're seeing as a result of that. But the kid, like anyone else who plays basketball, he wants to win. Like, so I don't think it's hardwired in his brain that he doesn't care, like win or lose. That's what I would say. Like,
All right.
Okay.
if you're like, yes, it fluctuates like Anthony Edwards, but that wouldn't be what would keep me from picking him. You know, like I just feel like as a coaching staff with proper player development, you can hold this kid accountable. But he's a tough one because you don't want to hold him, like you never want to contain him. Like, you don't want to
give him some type of
so
freedom.
it's tough, but getting him to play hard all the time, especially being engaged on defense off the ball, will be a huge point of emphasis for whoever drafts him.
All right.
Cool. So LaMelo is number 2. Number 3.
Yep, LaMelo's number 2. Number 2 on my board. So number 3. Are we going who I think the Knicks should pick at number 3 or who I have number 3 on my personal board? You guys tell me.
Number 3 on your personal board.
Now I want to go to
Okay,
Knicks.
all right.
Wait. I was
Sounds
need for
good.
Knicks or personal board.
All right. Well, my number 3 and 4, you could interchange them for me at this point. I'm not hard set on either one, and I think they'd both be good picks for the Knicks. So I'll go with number 3 first. So Denny Avdija from Israel. He plays for Maccabi Tel Aviv. One of my favorite prospects in the draft for sure. Kind of just a do-it-all forward, jack of all trades. Like he just finds a way to impact every single facet of the game. Like he'll make a great help side rotation on defense. He can pass. Like, have you guys seen anything of him, or am I just giving your first breakdown?
I've read a little bit about him, but I haven't seen.
Yeah, I haven't really seen much
video.
highlights. Yeah.
I've been reading, so I've read that he's a passer, jack of all trades, but not super athletic. Correct?
Yeah. So I mean, the athletic stuff is definitely. I wouldn't say he's not athletic, but what you basically see, and it's evident on film, is he doesn't have super long arms. So he's only 6'8", with I don't have it up, but like 6'8", 6'9" wingspan. I don't think he has crazy length, and you're going to want him to play the role of a secondary rim protector, where he can basically, if your big man's getting put in any type of action, he can slide over from help and protect the rim. I think he can play that role. I really do, because he's just really smart, like really, really smart, and it goes on both ends. Like he'll make a ton of great reads, whether it's tagging the roll man early, switching, just communicating with his teammates. Like he makes really good defensive reads all the time.
Question.
Yeah.
Secondary only because he has the length, but not the athleticism to compensate.
Yeah, so I mean, you're never going to want to play him at center just because one, he's only 6'8" and undersized, and two, like he still doesn't have that strength to bang with the centers. Like,
Okay.
He doesn't. I was watching a game, and you guys remember Jan Vesley, the wizard who the Wizards picked?
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a big time bust in the league, but he's back in Europe now, and he was playing against Denton, and Jan kind of pushed him around a little bit and got the best of him under the basket at sometimes. Now it's not. That didn't turn me off because like he's still 18 and he still has a ton of time to put on weight, get his frame better, and just that experience of playing with grown men, I think will help him translate to the league. But yeah, he's a 4, and that's just his ideal position. I wouldn't try to stretch him to be the 5.
Okay.
On the defensive end at least. But the offensive end is what I really like, because I watched him. He played in the U20 European Championships with Israel over the summer, and he was their primary initiator, straight up. They gave him the ball and said, "Let's rock." And they had another quick point guard guy named Yam Madar. He might go to the draft, but he's a little bit too sleeper for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But between him and Denny, they were a ton of fun to watch. Like, I'd recommend, if the Knicks get in his range, I'd recommend go watching some of those games on YouTube. Anyways,
All right.
Okay.
he just he made the right decision every single time. Like, he would get into the lane, see the help, manipulate the secondary help, and make the right read. He was killing. The one big thing with him is the shooting. That's going to be his swing skill.
Mm-hmm.
In that tournament, he was operating more on the ball, but when you watch him with Maccabi Tel Aviv playing against in those pro leagues, whether it's EuroLeague or just in the Israeli league, they'll run him off some pick and roll sometimes, but his role more is just kind of stand in the corner when the ball comes to you, knock down, catch and shoot, attack closeouts, or they can use him as a screener just to go off the pop. Like, I think he's definitely really versatile on the offensive end, just as someone who can catch and shoot, put it on the rack, and make a play, because he makes good decisions when the ball is in his hands. It's just that simple. Yeah, but the swing skill is the shooting. The swing skill is the shooting, and I had a funny tweet the other day, just the difference between his three-point shooting and free throw shooting.
Mm-hmm.
The three-point shooting, he's up to 38%, which is, if you told me in the summer he's going to shoot 38%, I'd say, oh, this kid has a chance to be the number 1 pick in the draft, just because he does everything so well and impacts every part of the game that if he's going to be a reliable catch-and-shoot shooter, he's just going to be one of the best players in this class. Now, he's shooting 51% from the foul line.
Ooh, what?
Damn.
Yo, this new NBA is the new crop of kids where they can shoot threes and not
shoot free throws.
Weird, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It defies the laws of physics and time, and I don't know.
It defies everything. It's probably the most confusing stat of any prospect in the draft because it makes no sense. The mechanics aren't broken, and he's a confident kid. Like, I'm going to chalk it up to mental because that's just like free throws. It's
I'm like thinking it too much.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You're just overthinking it. But like, what I love about him, what I love about the kid is that he's a fiery competitor, and like he loves
I like that.
the game, and he'll dive on the floor. You see, like, he has raw emotion, like really raw emotion on the court.
Mm-hmm.
And he just, I told you I was only gonna curse, and I wanted to emphasize something. The kid gives a fuck. Like, that's it's straight up. It's straight up. Like, we're talking about some of those top 2 prospects fluctuating in and out of games. Are they locked in? Are they not? Denny is locked in, playing team-winning basketball all the time.
That's what I like. I don't like no Dennis Smith Jr. stuff.
And so in terms of the Knicks, that three-pointer is even more of a swing skill because we're talking about Mitchell Robinson, who we want to shoot, but we don't really know if he's going to shoot it. I wouldn't place a confident bet that he's going to be a reliable three-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
RJ Barrett definitely shoots a lot of them. Not sure if they go in. We're not sure if he's even shooting with the right hand.
Yeah, true.
He's a righty, but I'm a lefty, but I shoot better with my right, but I shoot left with the hand.
Whatever that was. So, and then we just have lineups that don't have a ton of shooting. That's just what plagues us. We play basketball like it's 2008 again.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna it's a tough sell to say, okay, we're gonna draft this 4 to go along with our 3 RJ and 5 Mitchell Robinson, and he shoots 51% from the foul line. But I'll counter that and say the kid is a tireless worker. He's confident as hell. He has a good-looking stroke. The mechanics are good, and he's gotten better with his stroke every single year. So I'm buying the three-point shot, and I'm buying Denny as a very solid pick for the Knicks if they fall anywhere between the 3 to 6 range, I'd say.
All right.
All right, cool. So that was your overall 3rd pick.
Yeah.
That you still think?
He's number 3 on my board with a slight lead over the next guy who we'll talk about.
The slight lead over the next guy.
Lead.
And the slight lead is over who?
It's over Killian Hayes, the French player.
Kill!
Okay.
Kill. Now, when people hear Killian Hayes and they hear he's French, right? This is things that happen in people's head. They either get like PTSD because they're like, "Oh my God, no, we can't stand Frank. He's not aggressive enough." Or they go, "Oh well, he's a system guy. That's cool, but I think people want a playmaker. So is he a playmaker?
So he's the definition of a playmaker.
I knew he was going to say
I
that.
should have prefaced it that he's actually born in Florida. So for those crazy Knicks fans, he's a Florida point guard. He was born in Florida. So for the crazy Knicks fans who are traumatized by the word French point guard, we can say he was born in Florida and currently plays in Germany. All true. Just leave out that he's a French citizen.
All right.
So basically with Killian, like, you're getting great size. He's a 6'5" point guard. He's strong. Unlike Lamelo, he doesn't get bumped off the spots. When he's driving, he'll take the contact and he'll finish. Again, great touch. He has a really good floater package. He's shooting 91% from the free throw line.
Come on. Come on.
He's lighting it up, like absolutely lighting it up. And he's one of my favorite players to watch because his passing is incredible. Like I told you guys, this class, if it's flooded with one thing, it's flooded with playmakers. And there's a ton of dudes that can pass. And Killian is definitely one of them. Coming off the pick and roll, I mean, he's absolutely deadly. He'll hit the corner. I mean, he'll throw whip passes all over the court with serious velocity and serious accuracy. He's pinpoint. He'll manipulate the defense like it's nothing with his eyes, jump balls, fakes, everything. Like, he'll get them in the air and he'll get them second guessing. And what I like about him is he's just matured. He's grown and matured over the course of the season. Back in the first month of the season when he made the move with in the Germany league, he was averaging, I can't remember, but he was turning the ball over a ton. Like, kind of reckless with it, always trying to make that home run highlight pass. And as the year went on, the game slowed down for him a little bit. And he's a guard. He's not going to win you over with speed. He doesn't have great burst, but he has great size, great composure, and great pace. So once he started to settle into that pace, and he won't lull you to sleep, but he'll put you on his back. He'll use his size. He'll use that tall frame to see over the defense and see over the help. And once it kind of clicked for him, he has taken off and hasn't looked back since. Like I said, he's just, between him and Denny, you could call it 3A, 3B on my board right now. And with the Knicks, he's probably one of my favorite fits for them.
Question, though, because I've had this debate in my mind because I'm hearing about Lamelo Ball and Killian and even Halliburton, which you can talk about later. In my mind, I sound crazy. I'm like, why not take a Killian over a Lamelo?
So I actually think, this is going to sound kind of crazy, because after all those numbers, I'd rather you guys off 91% from the line, 39% from three. Killian really struggles with catch and shoot stuff. He's shooting 25%. He's shooting 25% on spot-up no dribble jumpers this year. Only 32 attempts, so not a huge sample size. But considering he had a ton of shooting woes last year in France, and now again only shooting 25% on spot-up no dribble jumpers, it's not the end of the world. And I see a roadmap. Like, there's a roadmap for Killian to be above Lamelo, and I wouldn't even argue with that. Right now, I do think Lamelo is probably more of a dynamic passer than Killian is. No disrespect to Killian. He's incredible in his own right, but Lamelo, I think his handle, he has a shiftier handle, which allows him to set up everything else better. So I think his handle probably gives him a slight edge. And just Lamelo's 2 inches taller, so that opens up X amount of things. But where Killian is much better than Lamelo is around the rim. Like I said, he's not going to beat you with like speed and burst and just blow right by you like some of the other guards in this draft. But kind of like when Luka does that deceleration when he gets to the rim, he'll just like stop on a dime and
have you fly by.
He'll like freeze in air and the defender will go flying by and he'll just float it off the top.
Good move
of the
for you point guards, by the way. For sure, guys like me.
Killian. So basically, that move only works if you can take the bump and maintain your center of gravity and maintain your balance.
Right.
Killian's really strong, so he can do that, and that's been working for him a lot. Like early in the year, he would try to just go straight up, meet him at the rim, lay a fine layup, and he was getting a lot of his stuff pinned. But and that still happens now. Every point guard gets pinned, but now he's kind of learning how to use his leverage more, getting into defenders' getting into their bodies more, creating that separation, bumping them off their spot rather than just waiting for them to come at him. So he's rapidly improved over the course of the year, been super productive, visible growth, and he's one of my favorite prospects. And look, if the Knicks walked away with Killian, I'd be very happy.
I'd be happy too. And his name is Killian, dog. Like, do you know what we can do with a name like that on the Knicks? Killian kills balls.
And this is also what I'll say about him. Like, you pull up a picture of him, combine that with he's the swaggiest dude in this draft by far. There's no question about it. Like, he has that French look. He has good curls. He's got cool glasses. He's got good style.
Him and Frank are gonna be taking the illest.
New York girls are gonna fall in love with him, man. I'm telling you.
Oh man, him and Frank gonna be having a drip contest.
Oh, man. Drip on.
Yeah, he's got it all going on. So look, if Killian was suiting up for the Knicks in the Garden next year, I'd be a happy guy.
And I could just imagine too, Killian with RJ, with Frank, and they're all talking French to each other on the court at the same time, and you kind of have like an interchangeable 6'5", 6'7", almost 3 playmakers going at the same time. That's like kind of real positionless basketball. I mean, if Killian can actually start to hit catch and shoot jumpers, that's
I do have one question about Killian though.
Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we've been talking about like how he's on the offensive end. How is he on defense?
So yeah, that was what I was going to get to next.
All
right. This is a huge part of his projection because basically in the beginning of the year, if you read what I said in my preseason board about Killian, I was probably a little bit too harsh and kind of missed the forest of the trees with him. But basically his point of attack defense was absolutely brutal. Like brutal. There's a game he played in FIBA, it was U17, so it would be like 2 summers ago, probably a long time ago. But he kind of has his posture is really upright. His posture is really upright, and his steps are really heavy. So he doesn't have those like quick turn hips, and like he can't like slide, like go from slide to run really quickly.
So pick and roll probably.
He's not like a great lateral, or he wasn't at least a great lateral athlete. Like Andre Curbelo, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's a city guy. He plays for Lou High. He blew by him cleanly every single time. Literally every single time.
Damn.
And I was just like, how is this kid gonna even be sustainable in the league? Like, if he can't guard anyone on the ball. So going back to earlier in the season with those kind of problems are still rearing their head. Like, he was getting blown by way too often. He was overplaying his guy at the point of attack, which results in way too clean of a blow by. And something must have clicked for him, because ever since then, he's just learning how to use his body to like contain the ball handler more. He doesn't need to be Pat Bev and be up in their grill. He's a 6'5" point guard. He's strong and he can contain the ball. So yes, he does have some still like lapses where he'll just get blown by way too easily or caught way too upright. But if you believe you can fix that posture, even minimize its negatives on the court, he has some real defensive upside, because he's 6'5", and like LaMelo, he sees the game 2 steps before everyone else. So that offensive IQ that results in him slinging whip passes all over the court and just being really deceptive with the ball, that translates to defense, and he lives in the passing lanes. Like, I don't know what his steal percentage is off the top of my head, but he's really, like, he is good. Like we talked about, he's good size. He's 6'5", can maybe guard multiple positions, which is huge for your lead initiator.
Right.
And then he's in the passing lanes. He's making plays. He's a good team defender. He's just disrupting plays, whether that's getting a hand in there, getting a strip, just tagging the roll, just doing anything to disrupt the other team's offensive flow. He's been really good there. It's just a philosophy thing where if you think point of attack defense is more important than team defense, I think team defense is more important, but obviously if you're a guard and you're getting blown by all the time, that's just not tenable. Getting to see, like, watching him make that progress in the German league has been incredible, because I've always loved his offensive game, but you can't force yourself to buy something if you don't think the other side of the ball is tenable. But now that not only is it tenable, but he's showing real flashes of being a solid defender, I'm pretty much all the way in.
Okay, all right. That's all right. Ready to turn that around. I was scared. I was scared the first time, and I was like, "Oh God, no! That's not what we need. No, this is why I didn't want DSJ here. Nah, God, but all right."
No, I had to preface it with where he was to now where he is now. It's a big part of him as a prospect.
Exactly. He was 17 at the time, which is a long way from where your prime will be.
Long way. Yep. Right. But when you play overseas, you gotta watch any film you can get.
Exactly.
Yeah. True.
True. Very true. All right. Cool. So, we got Anthony Edwards, we got LaMelo at 2. We have Who's 3 again?
Maccabi,
So-
Israel dude.
Yeah, I didn't want to mess with his name. That's why I asked Ryan.
Maccabi Tel Aviv. Yep.
Yeah.
Maccabi, Tel Aviv. 4.
Killian. Yeah.
Favorite name
Killian.
of the draft.
By far.
5. I think I knew. I don't know.
Yeah. So at 5, I don't know if you guys, so I basically had 8 guys that I want to talk about for this range, if that's cool with you guys.
Okay.
Alright.
So my 5th guy is on my personal board. I don't know how good of a fit he is for the Knicks, but I guess I'll give him some airtime. Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I've seen him play a little bit.
I've heard of
Yeah,
the combo
so-
guard, 6'3".
Yep. 6'3". Yep, 6'3" combo guard. He's been kind of underwhelming. I was a big fan of him pre-draft, but everyone's been kind of underwhelming, so you can only move him down so many spots.
Yeah.
So he's still in that tier 2 range for me. Basically with Maxey, I think he's shooting like 30% from 3 right now. I think he's a much better shooter than that. His
Yeah.
pull-ups are really, really fluid. He has kind of a flat arc on his jumper that kind of makes people skeptical, but I just think that's like his release. That's just how it goes. Like, if you can change that, obviously, if you want to, but I wouldn't mess with that, honestly. I think he's a real, like, his touch is crazy. Like Lamelo. Him and Lamelo go back and forth, and Nico Mannion for best floater in the class. Maxey has it. Like, his floater game is on locks. He has it, both hands, both legs, improvise, over shot blockers, he has it in the bag. And so if you're buying that touch, which I am, and you're buying his fluidity and pull-ups, then you think he has a chance to be a legit scorer. Like, I think he has a chance to be a legit scorer in the NBA. He's really, really strong. He isn't, in terms of vertical pop, he's not the greatest athlete. Like, he's not going to dunk on you, or I don't know how many dunks he has in the year, but he's not like some other guys in this draft that are like going to come down the lane and put it on your head. Like, he's really, really strong when he's finishing around the big man. He doesn't get that pop. So like, there was a play that was, everyone was like, gee, like, you can't be doing that. He was one-on-one with a point guard, and he ended up against Auburn, I think, and he ended up getting blocked. And it's just like, you can't do that. If you're a top 5 pick, you got to either finish him or get fouled. And he got blocked out of bounds. I don't know how the possession ended, but that's just kind of unacceptable for a guy of that caliber. But then he gets these other flashes where he'll split the defense, get downhill, take the contact from a 7-footer, and finish it with the end. And that's, like, those flashes are just really, really incredible. And on the defensive side, he's a pest. Like, he will get up in your shit. Brings great energy.
That's what I like.
And he's just a dog. He's a dog. He's a dude you want to suit up with. But again, he is undersized.
6'3",
only
yeah.
6'3". He is really strong, so he'll buckle up against bigger guys. But just like physical limitations, you do wonder how much of a part that would play in the league. However, I'm fairly optimistic. Just like, he hasn't had great defensive numbers this year, but I'm pretty optimistic of him on that end, just because that's always been a trademark of his game. Always been a trademark of his game.
Why pick him over? Because I know the popular guy.
Yeah.
Cole Anthony, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody, I think ESPN was like, I think ESPN had a draft pick, top 10, whatever. I think Cole Anthony was towards the bottom. So why him over Cole Anthony? So
with Cole, we were talking about finishing worries earlier in the year, and I have finishing worries with Cole. Like, the sample is way too big at this point, and the numbers are way too concerning for it to be anything else. Coming into the year, Cole was pushing for number 1 for me. I had him and Anthony Edwards in a tier of their own, and they were 1A, 1B on a ton of people's boards. I ended up giving Anthony Edwards the slight bump, but Cole was right there. And I wrote in that preseason board, like, he was my pick for National Player of the Year. He was that dominant in AAU, FIBA, whatever setting he played in, he dominated. It was that simple. So he's had a really underwhelming and confusing campaign at North Carolina. The upside to go him with, like, Tyrese Maxey and Cole, and I saw someone post this on Twitter a couple days ago, so I can't think who it was. But basically, they were talking about how, look, let's say you take Cole. If Cole doesn't pan out, that's extremely detrimental to your franchise, because he's a lead initiator. He's going to have the ball in his hands all the time. And he can shoot, but he's going to shoot a lot. So if Cole comes in there, he's going to demand a ton of shots, because that's his game. And if he hits, that's great. You have a point guard with endless pull-up range who's a legit scorer.
Right.
But with Cole and Maxey in the same, they're not great decision makers, and they're not great passers. Neither of them are deceiving the defense, like Killian, Lamelo, any of them. They're kind of just reacting to the defense. And even then, they're not making advanced playmaking reads. So I kind of view Cole as an off-the-ball guard. I really do, because the shooting is the most translatable trait, and he can knock it down off the catch, off the dribble, whatever. I don't know if I want Cole initiating my offense as the lead ball handler. So if we're talking just value, if he's Cole, I like his team defense. He flashes some pretty athletic. Like Cole has that pop as an athlete. He'll put it on your head.
Yeah.
He's been injured. He's been injured this year. I don't know how long, when that started, how long it's been lingering. He's lacked that burst that he showed in FIBA. He would get downhill in a second, and he, like Maxey, is really strong. So both of them can kind of finish through the help. But with Maxey, you just get I think he's a more reliable pick. Maybe the ceiling isn't as high, but as a proponent, like I'm the same guy who would be fine if the Knicks paid Fred VanVleet big money this offseason, because I'm tired of people coming into the team and just not being good at basketball.
I understand, man. There's that crew. I've heard that theory before about just give Fred VanVleet all the money.
Yeah.
I get it, but I want to wait. But we'll that's another episode.
We can talk that later. But basically, I just want to use that as a point of just like my Knicks philosophy: get good basketball players in the building. And with Maxey, you know what you're getting. He's going to compete on both ends. He is one of the most electric personalities I've ever been around. A hell of a competitor. Everyone wants to be around him. And I just think that's a good guy to get into your team. Like, he's a good guy to get into your team. He can be on and off the ball. I think he's a better shooter than the numbers show. He has really good range. He can attack the rim, finish it around the help. And the Knicks really lack playmaking. So it's going to be a tough sell to take another guard that isn't a great passer.
Right.
But at the end of the day, how many guys on the team right now are really going to be a part of our core future? So just don't draft for fit. I think in this 5 to 8 range, probably not 4, 5 to 7, 8 range, I'd feel comfortable taking Maxey and just get a good basketball player on the team. That's what I would say. Versus Cole, while the upside is intriguing, he's the hometown kid. He is a picture in Craig's Knicks jersey from his grand photo shoot that I have on my camera roll, and I've been posting it every time he has a good game. I just think it's meant to be. But you just got to wonder if the hometown hero is what we really need right now. Like, do we really need another guy who's going to demand the ball and take 15 to 18 shots a game and hope they score on volume? I don't know. I don't know. Like, we already have RJ for that.
True
that. I'm not the highest on RJ, but at the end of the day, he was your 3rd overall pick. So you got to think about him when you're making these picks to an extent. Not that you wouldn't take Ant-Man as the best player available, but if you're deciding between two guys in the 5 to 8 range who are somewhat neck and neck, I have Maxey a decent amount ahead of Cole, but like that is something that would separate it. I just think Maxey is more plug and play versus Cole. It's gonna have to revolve around him if he's gonna be Cole.
All right, cool. You know what? I think I want to. Let me know if you're down with this. I think I want to do a 2-parter. I think I want to do 2 parts. I think I want to cut it here for part 1. Because I still feel like there's certain people in that top range that we haven't talked about that we can talk about. And I also think
there's a bunch of guys that I'll still talk about.
Yeah, and then there's also the late first round pick that we didn't even get to. There's also the second round pick that we got from Charlotte from the Will and Hernangomez pick that we didn't get to. So there's like a whole wealth of other content that we haven't got to. And it's been a lot of information you gave us. So I really, really appreciate you kind of breaking down all these players. I know Knicks fans are going to appreciate like hearing all this information and figuring out, okay, I like this person. I like this. So thank you so much. Are you down? Of course. Are you down to come back next week?
Yeah. I mean, I may or may not go away. I know that sounds really unorganized, but basically we have a game on Thursday, and if we lose, then I'll go away, and if we win, then I'm here.
All right.
Win!
I'm trying to think, like, I'm also, if you guys want to, I'll be back Sunday night, even if I go away.
Oh, that's fine.
Or,
do Sunday night.
Or we can do, or if I don't get back till late Sunday, like, would you guys be cool doing Monday? I can do Monday afternoon.
That might be a little harder for everybody.
Monday might be tough.
That'd be tough for everybody.
You want to do,
but
obviously weekends are probably better.
Yeah. We'll talk about it as the time goes on. We'll talk about it and plan accordingly.
Yeah.
But
Look, This around like 6 or 7 should work for me next week. So if that works for you guys, I'm down to do a 2-parter. As you guys can tell, I can talk draft for hours, and I had a blast with you guys. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Awesome, cool. Yo, thank you. Yo, definitely gotta check out Jake in the Paint. Really good dude. Really insightful. Broke down a lot of this draft. I still have people I want to talk about.
Yeah, me too.
I want to hear about Hallie. I want Hallie and why he's not at the top. But don't tell me yet. We'll save it next week. Because when I'm on the post game live show, there's people talking about Jay Ellis, Halliburton. Don't sleep on this dude, Halliburton. Now I saw some clips. It's like, ooh, it's kind of nasty. But we'll talk about Halliburton next week for you guys who want to know what's up with Halliburton, what's up with the later picks, what's up with the second round picks. And then I think March Madness will start.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of like look at the guys and the performances and give our takes on what we see and compare it to what he said. And be like, oh, you're right. He was right. Jake did say he sucked at that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You know what? Oh, so Jake. Oh, wait. So Jake, this part of the show, you know what? You're going to experience this with us, Jake. So now,
I'm down for it.
Yeah. So you don't have to participate if you don't want to, because I know you didn't even know this was coming. All right. So this part of the show is called the Ooh Picks, right? Now, the Ooh Picks are the best plays of the week. They're kind of like the highlight plays. We pretty much describe the best plays of the week in dramatic fashion, and then we hit this little button on the thing. That's pretty much the Young A's sound effect from a few years ago. Ooh, and then it kind of signifies that, that was a nice play. So, all right. So I'm going to go first because it looks like Ryan is searching for his Ooh pick.
Yeah.
So my Ooh pick is going to RJ Barrett. RJ, in the beginning of the summer, you saw a lot of these clips where he was practicing his step back 3-pointers and his side step 3-pointers and all, because he's trying to get in his little James Harden bag. And Chicago, he pulled it out the bag. End at the half, about 2.6 seconds left or so. RJ dribbles. He's taking some on them. I don't even know whose guy's name on the Bulls. He's on the right side of the court. He starts to drive down the lane a little bit, but not really. He doesn't really go down the lane. Just goes a step or two inside the 3-point line. Steps back, pulls up, hits the 3 in the guy's eye. And it looks like all that practice shooting with his left hand paid off. First Ooh pick.
Yes.
Brian, do you have any Ooh picks?
I do. I barely remember, so I'm going to try to be as colorful as I can be, because I barely remember what was exactly going on. But my Ooh pick comes from that Knicks and Bulls game yesterday, where it was sometime in the second half where RJ Barrett was running up the court with the ball, and he saw Mitch hanging out under the rim.
Oh, okay.
They made eye contact, so Barrett was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw it up.
Locked eyes.
He threw it up. Mitch caught it and kind of reversed and banged it into the basket.
All right. Oh, I think I know which one he's talking about.
Yeah.
All right. That was our Ooh picks. It wasn't as flashy as usual. But,
yeah, it wasn't as flashy.
Do you have any plays? I don't know if you watched a lot of Knicks games this week.
Nah, unfortunately, I don't have any plays off the top of my head. I'll leave that to you guys.
All right, cool. That's professionals. All right, and now the next segment we have is called the Bruh Picks.
Yes, sir.
Bruh Picks are the worst plays of the week. Or they don't even have to be plays. They can just be stupid shit that happened this week.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of, did anything dumb happen this? I don't have it. I haven't picked a Bruh pick in mad long. I just been letting Ryan take over. I just call this Ryan's Bruh Picks because he usually has like 4 of them. That's why we call him Bruh Man from the 5th floor.
Yes, sir.
So Ryan.
First Bruh pick.
Oh, he got first. Here we go.
Goes to Kyle Lowry against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
So there was a play where Kyle Lowry had the ball. He didn't know where to go. George Hill was playing a lockdown defense. So Lowry was like, you know what, I'm stuck. So I'm going to be a bit creative.
Okay.
So he sees an opening where he's like, you know what, I'll be able to get through with the ball. He tries to go under George Hill's legs. And was unsuccessful. They got called for the offensive foul.
Bruh, listen, the only one I've seen pull this off was the great Nate Robinson. That's the only one. My guy's like 5'7", 5'8". No one else in the NBA should be pulling this off. And come on, like, let's be real. Like, Kyle Lowry's kind of stocky, man.
Yeah,
he's not like a small. He's not like a Trae Young. 6 feet. He's like a bulldog. Like, where are your shoulders going in between that man's legs? Where's that going? I'm sorry. Pause. All right.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right. Next bruh pick.
My next bruh pick goes to. This is a kind of like a combo bruh pick.
Combo bro, like 1-2, like a like boxing, like just like our guy who got knocked. Never mind. All right.
Julius Randle and JaVale McGee. Julius Randle against the Hornets and JaVale McGee against the Warriors. Because obviously these guys, I don't know, during the game they're trying to rush and get the ball back in, but they don't notice that they're not out of bounds when they pass the ball in and they get called for a violation and they get the turnover.
Obvious one. I completely missed that one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, so Julius Randle and JaVale McGee both got caught this week by doing the same thing.
Stepping inbounds.
Before they pass the ball. You get turnover.
Easy.
Yeah. Next bro pick goes to James Harden. This is the game against the Celtics. So, James Harden, James Harden's known as a scorer, but people know that James Harden passes the ball every now and then,
Every now and again.
Every now and again.
Feel like it?
Yeah. So there was a play where Westbrook was not in the game, but he was on the sideline, basically like walking to a seat or whatever. He went to get a towel or something.
He was open.
James Harden drove left, passed the ball to the corner.
I already know where this is going.
Westbrook caught the ball out of bounds.
Yeah. I mean, he likes passing the ball to Westbrook, I guess.
Yeah. Just unfortunately, Westbrook wasn't in the game.
Oh, can I give a bruh pick to Mike Miller for benching Dotson after playing so incredibly for a week? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm giving that. All right, back to you, Ryan. I called you Brian like 5 times this month.
The fourth bruh pick goes to the Knicks social media.
Again?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know who's running the Knicks social media accounts.
Damn, Steve Stout, get on that, man.
But after the Bulls game last night, the Knicks won. The person posted the Knicks score on the Knicks Twitter account. But he had the scores reversed. I had the Bulls had 125 and the Knicks 115.
Oh my. Bruh. All right, this guy must have just started like a month ago because there's been a lot of like errors with the Knicks Twitter recently.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, that dude, I don't know if he's keeping his job much longer.
I can't even say much. My Knick Of Time misspellings, Lord. Thank you for following.
Yeah. And my last bro pick goes to James Harden and Giannis because they had the back and forth. I don't know if you've been hearing it in the media. But basically, it started with Giannis talking about how, number one, when they were making the picks for the All-Star game, and I think there was only James Harden, Trae Young, and Kemba Walker on the board, saying that he wants somebody on his team who passes the ball. So he was trying to... So he was trying to choose between Trae Young and Kemba Walker because of that skipping over James Harden.
Trae Young.
So later on... not after the All-Star game, when they would have the press conferences and everything, after the game, they asked Giannis what was the strategy at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying that we gave the ball to whoever Harden was guarding.
Bruh. I mean, wouldn't that be your game plan?
It would be, but I mean, Harden did play good defense though in that All-Star game.
Yeah,
they didn't really score on them.
I mean, well.
So,
Jake disagrees.
At least the clips I saw, because I think I want to say it's either Ball is Life or Complex, one of them. They actually made a compilation.
You see. This is what we talking about, highlights versus games. That's why Jake gave you the because Jake was I saw the game and he saw the highlight of the steal, but his man was blowing by him the whole game. That's what Jake about to say. I'm just letting you know right now.
But I watched the game though. I watched the game.
I call my listen to this. I call my boys highlight watchers because they just don't watch it. You can't talk basketball with highlight watchers.
Ryan said he watched the game though.
I did watch the game though.
No, I'm not calling. No, you guys watch the games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for the people out there.
I feel you. People out there with the highlight watchers.
And to be honest, they didn't really score on Harden in those last minutes of the game.
Okay.
Harden did hold his own.
All right, the beard lockdown defense. All right.
So Harden, heard these comments. I think he was interviewed by Rachel Nichols, right? And she brought it up, and he was basically saying that, I wish I was 7 feet tall where I could just run and dunk all the damn time, but no, I actually have to learn how to play the game of basketball and have skill.
Damn.
Yeah.
Shots fired. Wow.
I mean,
wow. All right.
wait, can I hop in this for that?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I want to comment.
Hop away.
Yeah, most definitely.
Is like, let's just say Giannis just dribbles and dunks.
Mm-hmm.
As just as a baseline, is dribbling and dunking and going coast to coast at his speed at 7 feet tall not a skill in its own right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Kind of is. It's one of those things where you stretch the truth to get a point across. That's really what it is.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because if it was that easy, then everybody would do it. Like, if it was that easy to make a hole, then make another hole. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can't make another Giannis.
Yeah.
No, you can't. Giannis's bag is deep. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah. It's the side that's twisted. But that's trash talk 101.
Yeah, I mean,
diminish your greatest strength. Trash talk 101.
Exactly. To be real about, like, even today, Giannis dropped like 41 and 20 in the game. And had like 6 assists. So is Giannis
in like 25 minutes?
Exactly. So it's like, is Giannis without skill? Not really. But I kind of saw James Harden point, because it's like, James Harden's like, you know what? I'm not blessed with the physical tools this dude has, so I have to actually learn how to be, shifty and things like that on the court.
Or you can say, James Harden learned how to manipulate the refs. I'm just saying.
That too. Even though I did see a stat that showed that if you do take away his free throw attempts and how many free throws how many free throws he makes per game, he still averages 25 a game. So it's like, he still gets buckets regardless.
Oh, you know what? I have one more pick.
Mm-hmm.
Last pick goes to Julius Randle.
Oh, no handle Randle?
No handle Randle. Not for the turnovers, no. For the array of ways in which he ignores RJ Barrett at the 3-point line.
Oh, man.
There are several videos circulating around Knicks Twitter of RJ Barrett jumping up and down with 2 hands in the sky, waiting for a pass from Julius Randle, who was just spinning into double teams, triple teams, quadruple teams, and turning the ball over, getting blocked, and everything above and in between. So, broad pick for Julius Randle just seems to be, ever since Marcus Morris has been traded, I feel like he's kind of regressed in just looking for his teammates in general. Like, it just seems like he's taking a step back. He doesn't look to pass as much.
Yeah.
And that was the problem at the beginning of the season. Now it seems like he's doing it a lot more. So, huge broad pick, Julius Randle.
Bruh.
Stop that shit.
Oh, man.
All right. That is our show.
Yes.
All right. You know what? So, where can they find you, Jake?
So you can find me at my own website, jakeinthepaint.com.
Facts.
As you guys noted, I'm a contributor for Stock Risers. Check out their website. My boy Jake Weingarten, he's the owner of the site. He's 19 years old, breaks all the high school news. You gotta follow him on Twitter. He breaks everything, literally visits, offers, everything. He's got all the news. Follow him, turn on his notifications on. You won't regret it. So that's where you can find me at Stock Risers. I write for both those sites. And overall, just follow me on Twitter. I post a ton of draft clips, analysis. Not everything can go into a whole article. So I post a ton of my thoughts on Twitter. It's quick, it's immediate, gets the word out there. And I love talking draft or interacting with anyone on Twitter. So if you have any questions, hit me up, at me, DM me. My DMs are open. Do not feel scared. I don't even know. Don't hesitate. That's the word I'm looking for. Don't hesitate. Reach out to me. But in whichever way you can, at Twitter, at Jake in the Paint, no underscores, no anything. So thank you guys so much for having me. Really appreciate it. I had a ton of fun and can't wait for part 2.
Dope.
Yes, sir.
It's crazy, yo. These little 19 and 18-year-olds are building like these huge platforms.
I know, man.
Just like, This
I
era
was-
is nuts.
I know.
Yo, step your game up, Brian. You slacking, bro.
Yo, when I was 18, 19 years old, I didn't even know what the hell I wanted to do. I was in college, like still trying to find my way.
Exactly. Yeah, well, all right, so you can find us. You can find us on the KOT Show on Twitter, the Knick Of Time Show on Instagram, and also you can find us on. You just Google the Knick Of Time Show. You can see us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeart, all that noise. Also, you can find us on Dash Radio. Definitely do that. You can also watch us on YouTube. Definitely do that. If you don't follow us on YouTube already, are you dumb, man? Like, come on, dog. Like, what's your problem?
Yeah, y'all slacking,
You
man.
definitely slacking because we talking to Knicks. Plus, you see our faces because we handsome.
Exactly.
Plus, on top of that, we got clips on top of us talking, so you can see some examples of people buzzing people's ass with crossovers as we explain it.
Exactly.
Like, why would you not want? I don't understand. But see some people late to the party. So definitely follow us on all those platforms and follow me too. You can follow me personally on JLS Draws Things, even though I hardly post and I'm boring as hell. But every now and again, I'll post a selfie or something that I draw because I'm jealous and I draw things.
Word.
And where can they find you, bro?
You can find me at Sir G is Chillin'.
Sir G is chilling.
That's SIRG is CHILLIN. And yeah, I'm pretty boring to follow on IG too because I don't really post much. Maybe I might post like clips from like the podcast every now
Word.
and then. But maybe I need to step my selfie game up too.
Yeah, 2 selfies a week.
Word. Word.
Follow the camera woman. She doesn't post much either, but she posts something this week.
All right, maybe I need to go back to like posting my kicks or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Kick Wednesdays.
Exactly.
Kickback Wednesdays.
Exactly.
Boom. Look how my brain works, the Brendan. All right, cool.
Word.
That's it. We out of here.
Peace.
Peace and love out to where you from, but all about the world they ever come. Say again, bright lights, big city, bright lights, big city. Gonna do what I'm supposed to do, represent for my New York City crew. Say again, bright lights, big city, bright lights, big city. New York, big city, your dreams.
I'm coming straight out.
New York, big city, your dreams.
NYC.